I don't know, Al. We've tried the usual approach. We're gonna need more on this one.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're looking at details omitted from Netflix's miniseries about the life of Griselda Blanco. There will be some major spoilers.
Olvídate del informante. Olvídate de todo lo que tuviste que hacer para llegar aquí.
Number 10. Blanco's troubled childhood. While the series captures her ruthless nature, Griselda Blanco is depicted as a loving mother who has reservations about harming a child. Charles Cosby, an ex-lover of Blanco's, paints a less sympathetic portrait. Growing up surrounded by crime, Blanco allegedly committed her first murder during that time.
She lived in a neighborhood that was so uniquely criminal that it had been designated a tolerance zone, which is to say a red light district, by the city. Things that were illegal elsewhere were legal in that little neighborhood.
According to Cosby, Blanco kidnapped a local boy and held him for ransom. The boy came from a wealthy family, although they apparently didn't take Blanco's threats seriously. They should have, as their son was reportedly never seen alive again. Whether or not this story is true, it wouldn't be long until Blanco became involved in pickpocketing, counterfeiting, and sex work. We'd say that Blanco's childhood was short, but it's debatable if she ever had one to begin with. Number 9. Running business from prison. The Griselda finale speedruns through the last decades of Blanco's life. After the authorities take her in, it's implied that Blanco's reign as queenpin came to an end. That wasn't necessarily the case, however.
You underestimate me. You think I fear prison? No.
Although she was incarcerated for 19 years, it's been suspected that Blanco continued to run her operation from behind bars. Charles Cosby, who wouldn't meet Blanco until after her arrest, says that her imprisonment didn't slow business down.
She ran an operation from the prison phone. It kept running 24 hours a day. While she was in prison, she had an income of $50 million a year, which is not bad.
Cosby once testified that he met Blanco's youngest son, Michael Corleone, who said that his mother had some cocaine that she wanted the two to sell. Cosby was quick to get on board, claiming that within 45 days of knowing Blanco, he was already turning into a millionaire.
Many times over, you're talking $15, $20 million in cash that I could reach out and touch at any given time.
Number 8. Charles Cosby's relationship with Blanco. Cosby isn't depicted in Griselda, but he played a prominent role during Blanco's prison years.
The phone calls became routine. I mean, it went from one phone call a day to 2 calls a day to 4, 5, 6 phone calls a day from the godmother.
In addition to working for Blanco, Cosby claims that they entered a romantic relationship, despite being separated in age by nearly 2 decades. Cosby suggests that the two had instantaneous chemistry, with Blanco slipping him the tongue upon meeting. Blanco also bribed the guards $1,500 so that she could have intercourse with Cosby in a back room.
At least once a week. Sometime more, it depends. If it was overcrowded or whatever. $1,500 every time, no more, no less.
On the outside, Cosby was seeing another woman named Amber, which he says drove Blanco to put a hit out on him. Cosby alleges that he was shot 4 times at a stoplight, but he was wearing a bulletproof vest. Their relationship ended following Cosby's next prison visit when Blanco supposedly strangled him.
For the first time in 6 or 7 years, I was free. Although it was $1 million contract on my life, I had never felt more free in my life.
Number 7. Blanco's history with cannabis. They say that marijuana is a gateway drug. The same can be applied to those who distribute drugs. Before becoming the cocaine godmother, Blanco got her hands dirty selling cannabis.
They were getting money. But Pestañitas told my mother, we're making peanuts here. If we can get this weed to New York, we could make a big load of money.
Blanco married Carlos Trujillo, dealing cannabis together in Colombia. After splitting with Trujillo, Blanco moved to Queens with their 3 sons and her next husband, Alberto Bravo. Cannabis was their source of income, but it was only a matter of time until Blanco and Bravo transitioned to cocaine, which they found easier to smuggle.
Mira lo que hemos construido, nuestro negocio, nuestra familia.
It was around this time that Blanco realized that bras were ideal for concealing product. While Griselda touches upon some of this, it largely skips over Blanco's early criminal career to when she started to hit the big time.
You can still smell the jungle when you heat it. I smuggled a kilo in my son's suitcase.
Number 6. Blanco's first husband. Alberto Bravo and Blanco's third husband, Dario Sepulveda, both play substantial roles in Griselda. Yet we learn little about Blanco's first husband, Carlos Trujillo.
He taught her a lot. He certainly taught her how to smuggle.
Blanco was barely a teenager when she first met Trujillo, going on to have 3 of her 4 sons with him. Although the marriage didn't last, Blanco and Trujillo continued their professional partnership for a period. It's been said that Trujillo wasn't the healthiest person, supposedly dying from cirrhosis in the 70s. However, many firmly believe that Blanco was responsible for his death.
At 27, Griselda should be a grieving widow, but Trujillo has served his purpose.
Presumably, the two didn't see eye to eye on business, compelling Blanco to order Trujillo's execution. This would be Blanco's first step towards attaining the nickname the Black Widow, with her future husbands meeting similar ends.
Dario, tú me traes a Michael ya mismo, o si no te voy a montar una cacería que cuando te tenga te voy a reventar la cara yo misma.
Number 5. Blanco's relationship with Pablo Escobar. The miniseries opens with an alleged quote from Pablo Escobar, but the Colombian godfather is otherwise MIA. While Escobar did know of Blanco, the nature of their relationship has been debated.
Pablo Escobar's boss was one of those smugglers. My mother didn't like him too much, so Pablo killed him. And my mother said, Pablo, you got a future, kid.
A rumor circulated that they were lovers, although the two were likely no more than business rivals. Escobar became an apprentice smuggler around the same time Blanco got her cocaine enterprise off the ground.
Wasn't for Griselda Blanco, there would be no Pablo Escobar. Period. Bar none.
Both had operations in Medellin, reportedly feuding over territory. Blanco asserted her authority by targeting Escobar's gang in drive-by shootings. This did not scare Escobar away for good. He'd use his influence to take control of the local airport, forcing Blanco to rethink her distribution. Blanco would eventually return to Medellin, which is where she and Escobar both bit the bullet.
Aquí está pasando algo raro. Yo la llamo.
Pablo. Number 4. DEA Agent Bob Palumbo's pursuit of Blanco. The show gives June Hawkins most of the credit for taking down Blanco. Hawkins was indeed a key figure in the case, but her rivalry with Blanco is exaggerated.
I haven't thought about you once.
In reality, Hawkins wasn't the one mainly responsible for Blanco's downfall. That distinction arguably goes to Bob Palumbo, who infiltrated Blanco's family using an informant. Although he doesn't pop up until the penultimate episode, Palumbo spent 10 years chasing Blanco before capturing her. Palumbo felt this moment was so overdue that he greeted Blanco with a kiss on the cheek.
I said, "Hola, Griselda." She looked at me with a very bewildered look. "No, me llamo Betty." I said, "Nah, I don't think so." And I put the cuffs on her, and away we went.
Following the arrest, Palumbo sat in the back with Blanco, who appeared, quote, visibly shaken. Reflecting on Blanco, Palumbo said, quote, "I don't wish death on anybody, but if anybody deserved the ultimate punishment, it was her."
It wasn't until later that I realized what a role she played, not only in the cocaine business, but also in the business of violence.
Number 3. The John F. Kennedy Jr. plot.
¿Qué está pasando?
Nos tenemos que ir ya.
¿Ahora qué? ¿Qué más hiciste?
Griselda leaves out possibly the most ludicrous part of Blanco's criminal career. Granted, it might just be a rumor, but we wouldn't put kidnapping the former president's son past Blanco.
You finally found a murder to charge me with?
10 years after her capture, Blanco was still facing potential murder charges. During her incarceration, Blanco supposedly plotted to have John F. Kennedy Jr. captured and use him as leverage to ensure her freedom. The plot never came to fruition, assuming that it was even real to begin with. Kennedy would infamously die in a 1999 plane crash, 5 years before Blanco was released due to her declining health. The FBI was unable to confirm if Kennedy was ever in jeopardy of being kidnapped by Blanco's henchmen. That said, they couldn't disprove the conspiracy either.
You've thought about me a lot, haven't you?
Number 2. What happened to Michael Corleone? Griselda explores the fates of Blanco's 3 eldest sons, although it's unclear how Dixon and Hubert actually died. In any case, Michael Corleone is Blanco's only surviving son, but we're given little insight into what became of him.
He was as cute as a button, playing in a playground, just a nice kid. And it was so sad, and I remember commenting to my wife, I said, I really feel sorry for this child.
Corleone was brought up by his grandmother and various legal guardians throughout his mother's sentence. He'd continue the family business while also overseeing a hip-hop label, Extortion Records. Shortly before his mother was killed, Corleone was arrested and placed under house arrest. Since his probation ended, Corleone has seemingly gone legit, appearing on reality shows like Cartel Crew.
I really don't talk too much to regular people about my life unless I'm either getting paid to do it,
right,
or they're people that need to hear something from somebody else that kind of live the same.
Corleone says that he didn't give Netflix his blessing to make Griselda or receive credit. As such, he's pursuing legal action against Netflix, Latin World Entertainment, and Sofia Vergara.
Netflix, as we've alleged, is using these ideas that were part of interviews, that were memorialized in writings and notes. Nobody else could have those ideas and nobody else could have those stories.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. The ironic way that Blanco died.
We all believed at the time that she had made so many enemies in her professional life that as soon as she reached the tarmac on the airport in Colombia, that her lifespan was almost nil.
After being released and deported in 2004, Blanco survived another 8 years, which is impressive for someone who made so many enemies. The final episode leaves us with a message saying that Blanco was, quote, gunned down by an unknown assassin while exiting a butcher shop at age 69. What the show doesn't tell us is that Blanco died in a fashion that was all too familiar to her.
We were waiting for that news that Griselda was killed.
At the height of her power, Blanco became notorious for orchestrating drive-by motorcycle shootings. When Blanco was running errands in 2012, she was shot twice in, you guessed it, a motorcycle ride-by. Maybe it was a coincidence, but chances are that whoever ordered the hit wanted Blanco to die in this specific manner.
She was a psychopath. She loved killing people.
Do you have fascinating details about Griselda Blanco that didn't make the cut? Share them in the comments.
I still believe that things go full circle.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.